Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. A lot has changed for me in the past 6 months. I moved to California, to Los Angeles specifically. I've been building out this studio space here. I feel like the type of videos I'm making is totally different. I'm also working on a new book, and so I thought it was time to sit down and do a little Q&A video where I just answer some of your questions. And it's also just a good excuse to talk about a bunch of different things for a while on this channel. So thank you so much to everybody who submitted a question on Instagram. I really appreciate it. This might be a longer episode, so sit down, grab a coffee, and let's get into some questions. There was a lot of questions like this one, so I'm going to start here. How do you like living in LA so far? To be honest, I've loved it here so much. I feel mentally so much better than when I was living in New York City. There is more space out here. The weather is better. I've made a lot of really great friends here over the last couple months. And what I think I've been enjoying most is that I just really like photographing this landscape. I love photographing out in the desert. I love photographing around Los Angeles itself. And there's a lot of really cool nature around here that I'm really inspired by. So it's a combination of kind of all those things. I feel really happy here. I know it's only been 6 months, but I could definitely see myself staying here for quite a while. I shoot so many more photos here on a monthly basis than I feel like I did in half a year of living in New York City. Somebody asks, what are your upcoming plans for the YouTube channel? I've been making a series on this channel called Roll Notes together with my friend Marty, who films the episodes. And every episode we go out to a new location and basically just go shoot a lot of photos. And since starting my YouTube channel, that has been my favorite thing to make. I feel like that series is what I've always really wanted to make, but it was never really possible. I think it's a combination of being in a new city like Los Angeles, where there's so much new subject matter for me to photograph, and then also Marty, who's come on board recently to help film a lot of the videos, and also just being inspired again, being out here. I think the combination of all of that sort of sparked that series, and it's been so much fun to make, and I want to do a lot more episodes of that, not necessarily based all in Los Angeles even. They feel very much not about the gear, and it's just going out and taking photos and enjoying photography, enjoying being outside, enjoying exploring new places. And yeah, I guess the question was, what are the plans for the channel? And I definitely want to keep that series going. And in addition to that, I also want to make some more relaxed style content. Like, that feels very well produced. And then I also want to start making some videos about just more casual everyday things like this Q&A, and videos maybe about building out some stuff in the studio, stuff that's not necessarily super strictly photography but is still related to what I'm doing, and just a little bit more laid back in that way. Tips for someone starting a new YouTube channel. I don't know if it's specifically asking about film photography, but I have 2 things that I think I want to say. Number 1 is don't try and make videos like the type of content that's already out there. I think for me, the most exciting YouTube channels to watch are never ones that are very topical or specific about subjects even. I really just enjoy watching different people, just their personalities. So I would say if you're starting a new YouTube channel, don't focus too much on trying to recreate what's already out there, trying to cover topics that are popular. Just make it about you. If it's about photography, make it about your work, your perspective on things. I don't know. My second tip would be to not look at the numbers, which is very tempting when you're starting out because you want to grow. I feel like the most natural thing to do is just to make the videos that you want to make. Don't even look at the numbers. Another mistake when I started out was I really wanted video sponsors because it seemed like it would make this financially sustainable for me. I think when I stopped chasing that kind of thing and I started just making the videos that I really wanted to make is when my channel started actually growing and sponsors started naturally just approaching me, asking to do things with my videos. So It's easy to get caught up in the numbers and wanting to have sponsored videos on your channel in the beginning, but I would say don't focus on that. Focus on just the ideas that you really want to make, and all that stuff will come by itself. Any updates on your photo book? Yes. If you watched my studio tour, I talked a little bit about my upcoming photo book. It's called On the Sunny Side of the Street. It's a really long printing process to make this book. It's been taking months, but all of the inlay is printed, and we finally have some printing work being done on the cover, and we have the final color of the cover, which is a little bit more sunny looking than the mock-up, which I think is cool. It's a nice warm yellow, but from what I've seen, it's looking really beautiful, and I'm very eager to share more as soon as I know when the production will be finished. On the same topic, someone asks, what has the process of making your new photo book been like? It's been very different than any work I've made in the past. With my previous project, Walking Svalbard, it was like 10 days of taking photos, then coming back, making the zine out of it, and then sharing videos about it. So it was very easy for me to make that work, not share anything about it during the making of it, and then when it came out, I just published a video from when I was in Svalbard. With this work, it's very different because it's the last 3 or 4 years of personal, I guess I call them landscapes for a lack of better words. And this really is the work that I'm personally passionate about. I know I share a lot of videos here on YouTube in which I'm taking photos, and there's a lot of photography that gets shared on the channel, but most of it I wouldn't actually consider my work. There are photos that are for the purpose of a YouTube video, like demonstrating a camera or a film stock, but this book really is the personal photos that I've enjoyed making over the past 3 or 4 years. And some of them you may have seen already, but the majority of the work, and this is something I really wanted for my first hardcover book, is that the majority of the work is all unseen photos. There's definitely some that you've seen, but the majority is unseen work. And I think for me, as somebody who shares a lot of videos here on YouTube and a lot about photography here on YouTube, it feels really good to be able to do something like that, because it feels like I was able to make something that even throughout all of this sharing here on YouTube, it feels very true to myself, and this really does represent the work that I make. That's a long rant, but any advice on how to avoid getting burnt out? I'm not an expert on this topic because I too get burnt out on photography. There's a lot of days where I feel like I don't want to make anything, but if there's one piece of advice that I have, it would be to have a second hobby that's not just photography. I feel like there are 2 other things that I'm interested in outside of photography, and that would be cars and, very recently, some woodworking projects. So these are things that I'm not necessarily incredibly serious about, but they're nice hobbies that I can use to also get away from photography. And they're things that feel like polar opposites to photography. Like, for example, one of my hobbies is working on cars. I really enjoy fixing them, fixing old pieces of crap. For example, recently I fixed my Tiguan. This was a car that broke down on a road trip with my friends Roman and Joe, and it got stranded in the Arizona desert for a year. And I picked up the car with a tow truck, got it back here to California, and with 2 new friends, Paul and Joe, we did what's called a head swap on this car. So we rebuilt essentially half of the engine. And this is something that's so not like creative in the way that photography is. It's very hands-on, it's very mechanical, it feels like an adult version of Legos. And it really helps me to sort of get away from photography, because sometimes I feel like I can get my head really wrapped up in making pictures and making YouTube videos. So doing something that's polar opposite really helps me to sort of get away from it. And then when I'm done with the car stuff, I can come back to photography feeling very refreshed. So that's been incredibly fun and very different for me. Who are some photographers who inspire you recently? I have to say I'm always most inspired by photographers who I know personally or who I can talk to online. So the first one would be Grade Solomon. He's a close friend of mine. He does some incredibly unique work. His process really inspires me. He works primarily with digital cameras too, which I wish I could do. He's just got some incredible colors and also a way of noticing things in everyday life that's very different from what I would do. His color palette and his subjects are super unique, and I always love looking and talking to Grade, so he's a very cool guy. Another one would be Ashley. Her Instagram handle is Ladyist. Her portraits are incredible. I wish I could take portrait photos like this. The colors are always gorgeous. The lighting is gorgeous. The styling is super unique. And overall, just the complete combination of that in her photos is super beautiful. Anytime I see her portraits, it makes me wish I was still doing a lot more of that, and they're super inspirational to me. Somebody asks, what are your goals for the next year or two? I honestly really do want to keep making YouTube videos. As long as I enjoy it, I want to keep doing it because it's fun and there's an incredible community. I meet so many people through YouTube. I've made so many of my best friends through YouTube. So I'm incredibly grateful. I'm going to keep doing this as long as I enjoy it. I do want to switch up things a little bit, maybe in a year's worth of time, in terms of what I'm spending my time on. And one of those things is I want to start publishing other photographers' work. I think there's really nice opportunities to use this platform, this YouTube channel, to promote and publish other photographers' work. I really have a passion for books, for photography books. It's my favorite thing. I love looking through a good photography book. I love photography books as objects. And I want to start using this, like I said, this platform as a way to publish and promote other photographers' works by making books out of their work as a publisher, and also doing interview videos and making more videos about other people. I actually already have a whole brand established for what that will be called. I think my designer, Matthias, who also did my current book, On the Sunny Side of the Street, that we're working on, I think him and I will finish up that book project and then hopefully start working with some other people. So that's incredibly exciting for me. If you made it all the way here, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this whole microphone thing. I feel like I've gone on and off with this for the existence of my entire YouTube channel, and I can never decide whether the audio quality is worth having this ugly thing in frame. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you to you for watching. And finally, thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is an incredible all-in-one website building platform that you can use to build your photography portfolio online. I've been using Squarespace for over 3 years now, and they've made it so incredibly easy to get a website up and running with my photography. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you can hit the link in my description for a 14-day free trial of Squarespace. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Willem for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week with another video. Peace.